Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It is May the 22nd, pushing midnight in Kyiv and Moscow. Been a very active day. Last couple of days, to be quite honest, with massive drone strikes from Ukraine on Russia. We'll talk about those, but as you can see in the thumbnail and the title, I want to get straight to it. I want to always be factual. I've been holding back today, making sure I could clarify all of this. There is one thing that Moscow and Kyiv are agreeing on. One thing, and of course, you can probably guess what it is, but I'm going to get straight to that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. We're growing quickly. We're on our way now to 62,000 subscribers, and that helps us get the message out more, and we say thank you. Now, it's a bold statement to make in the title that Russia and Ukraine is agreeing on something, quietly agreeing on something, but I'm going to share it with you, and I believe you'll understand what I'm saying. Additionally, Putin coming out today, and very interesting timing on what he said. I have that video clip, and I will explain to you why I think it is interesting. So let's jump right to it. What does Russia and Ukraine agree on right now? This. Trump is out for now. And this is what you need to understand coming from the Ukrainian perspective and also the Russian perspective. The United States does not understand the war in Ukraine. That, my friends, is a fact. Sources, multiple, I've read multiple today, from both Russia and Ukraine agree on this one thing. The Messiah policy, and this is really what Donald Trump is doing, this Messiah, this savior policy of peace through bullying. I mean, we witnessed it yesterday again in the White House. The way the South African delegation was treated was an absolute disaster. But listen, please. Zelensky experienced it. He understands it. He'll be quiet about it because the United States has been so helpful, but he knows. Putin knows because he can play Trump like a fiddle. The fact is the Messiah policy will never work with Ukraine. The Messiah policy will never work with Russia. And the White House continual behavior only confirms this to Russia and Ukraine. So they absolutely agree on this, that his style not working. And we can really say for now, Trump's out. Trump's team is painfully lacking in knowledge of the facts. It's observed to make up their own facts, and this type of mediation will never work for Ukraine or Russia. When the Trump administration is just throwing out dollars, $300 billion here, well, this is going to be paid back, this mineral deal. Witkoff comes over, he's negotiating. He doesn't even know the name of Ukrainian regions. Crimea must be given away. They know nothing about the history and what has been layered on top of each other for decades, literally, to bring us to the point we are today, May the 22nd, 2025. Trump tells European leaders Putin isn't ready to end Ukraine conflict because he, and this was clarified, this was in the Wall Street Journal, but clarified by the Trump administration. He says Putin thinks he's winning. Well, Putin does think he's winning. He's demented. The United States Senate is now waiting a week. We saw this great news, 80 senators on board, 81, 82, whatever the number is. It could change right now while I'm recording. And I mean some serious Republican MAGA world senators, Tuberville and others. Yeah, we'll go for those sanctions. But put the brakes on. The United States Senate is now waiting a week on Putin to see if he'll start making some changes and keeping an eye on the White House, on the Messiah, on Donald Trump, whether or not they should proceed and push forward with this that they have over 80 guys agreeing on. Forget them, man, just push it. But we'll see. This is how the game is played. And this is why Ukraine and Russia agree actually on this concept in regard to Donald Trump and the administration there and how they're handling the war in Ukraine. It's just a fact. And I hope you understand the title and how it relates. They absolutely agree on that. Now, Ukraine massively attacking. At least 644 drones were destroyed over the Russian Federation in the last 2 days. I can tell you as of right now, pushing midnight Moscow and Kyiv time, Drones are flying again into Russia. I can also tell you that Ukraine has hit some massive strikes in the Kursk region with HIMARS today on military targets, airport restrictions throughout Russia. And you can see the map there. The light blue in the bottom left is Ukraine, that grayish. The purple are the regions in Russia. All the way up to the top is the Moscow region, where all these drones are flying. And, Moscow has four large airports that serves Moscow. And I remind you, if you do not know, Moscow is a massive city. And the airports, not only in Moscow, but also in other regions, nonstop restrictions, open airspace. Ukraine confirming that they have hit semiconductor factories, military warehouses, military industrial and infrastructure facilities, airfields, and other military facilities. Now, this is Russia saying that Ukraine launched 644 drones. It may even be more, to be quite honest. I mean, it could be way more. Ukraine is hitting Russia very hard with the drones, and it's very, 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 very good news. Now, let's continue on. Putin today, now this is the second part of the title I want to talk about. Putin talks about creating this buffer zone. Okay, and here I have a map for you, and let's look to the left. You can see Kyiv, and above that Chernihiv, all below to the left of the yellow line, down from that Sumy and Kharkiv. So it's in this northeast region of Ukraine. We know this area very, very well, of course, and he's talking about creating a buffer zone for Bryansk. So look above the yellow line there. That's the Bryansk region, the Kursk region, so famous for Ukraine's invasion there onto Russian territory, and also their incursions into the Belgorod. So all of this is around Kharkiv, Sumy, and Chernihiv, but I wanted you to also see where Kyiv is in relation to this. Putin once again talking about creating a buffer zone. Now, part of the title was the weirdness of this. This is 3 years in a row with the same mantra. And if you've made it this far in the video, I hope you have. What are your thoughts on this? So strange. June the 13th, 2023. Quote, if the strikes on the territory of the Russian Federation continue, Moscow will be forced to consider the issue of creating a sanitary zone, buffer zone on the territory, look here, on the territory of Ukraine so that they cannot reach us. Fast forward a year, May 17th, 2024. We will create a security zone, a sanitary zone. Actually, that's what we're doing. Fast forward another year. Today, May 22nd, 2025. Russian military is now forming a buffer security zone along the border. Now, the difference this time, to be quite honest, Russia has amassed about 70,000 troops up north of Sumy. That's the latest numbers. It's substantial. If you go back and you can look at this map right here, I'll just use that for right now. The middle city, there's Sumy. About 70,000 Russian soldiers amassed up there. We know the weather is changing, but it would have been the same for the last 3 years with these strange, basically the same time of the year, of course, going into the summer, going into the dry season, and then into the fall. But we do have about 70,000 troops on the border with Sumy. And yes, there are some Russian troops that have already invaded and are occupying some small villages there north of Sumy. We also have north of Kharkiv, the Vovchansk region that continues to be held by Russia. So this is what we're talking about here. So just weird timing for it, but here, you can listen to it yourself. He's talking about the buffer zone.
I mentioned the decision to create a security buffer zone along the border. Our forces are actively addressing this, suppressing enemy firing positions. Works in progress. Given the situation in Kursk, Belgorod, and Bryansk regions, we must start rebuilding, help people return home where safe, restore infrastructure, support businesses, and ensure industrial and agricultural operations continue. I'm tasking the Ministry of Economic Development and the Presidential Office to swiftly prepare a comprehensive restoration plan for the affected areas in Kursk, Belgorod, and Bryansk regions.
So there you can see it. He's calling out Kursk, Belgorod, and Bryansk regions and talking about this buffer zone and the rebuilding. The same statement 3 years in a row, but I have shared with you some of the nuances we're looking at this year. The war has has been waged for another year. So you have attrition, you have supply. We have right now the failure of the United States. We have no idea what's happening next. So interesting that we pay attention to this. Now, in addition to that, he also, in the same statement, he was meeting with all of his advisors there. He talked about the terrorism of the Kyiv regime and the mercenaries. And this is why we have to create this zone.
As you know, earlier this week, I visited workers in Kursk, in the Kursk region. I met with volunteers, local officials, and regional leadership. In our direct talks, we discussed issues most concerning to people in villages affected by shelling and fighting. We also talked about the terrorist tactics used by Ukrainian forces and foreign mercenaries. We understand that Kursk and other border regions near the front line need extra support now. This includes Belgorod and Bryansk regions. Each region has its unique situation and challenges to consider when developing aid measures. There are also common concerns shared by citizens across these areas.
And there you have it. So he's talking still. It's still about the buffer zone. It's about the security. It's about the terrorism of Kyiv and their terroristic tactics of Kyiv, the Ukrainian military, and the foreign mercenaries. So this is what we're facing. And once again, I goes back. I stand behind the title today and the thumbnail. Russia and Ukraine agreeing. U.S. has no the Trump administration doesn't understand how to deal with Russia and Ukraine. That's just a fact. That's it. And we are hearing the same rhetoric of this buffer zone for the third year in a row. Now, there are some additional things that have unfolded today. I can tell you that Sergei Lavrov was given the highest award possible. I'm not even going to waste your time and discuss you by showing you his acceptance of the St. Andrew Medal and his speech and his glorification of Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. But the Russian Foreign Ministry did release some information today and confirm it that in order to sign the necessary documents in the future, Ukraine needs a new leadership, because the current one has allegedly lost even internal legitimacy, not to mention external legitimacy. And that is a direct reference to the Trump administration. Even yesterday, they watch everything, guys. You have to understand that. The Trump administration doesn't get it. Even the rhetoric yesterday, how the South African delegation was handled in the White House, and then Trump just going off and saying, well, what the hell is Zelensky doing in South Africa? The president of South Africa was trying to say, well, he's trying to find some peace and find some help to find peace. So what do we learn from this? We learn that nothing changes. Putin wants war. Russia wants war, and they don't need peace. And the imitation of negotiations is just a drag on time. They will continue to wage war through this summer and into the fall, and they are very well prepared to do this. I stand by guys I talk to in Ukraine. I also stand by others like what I'm getting ready to share with you here. Former Supreme Commander of Ukraine, now the ambassador to the UK, Zaluzhny, quote, I hope that there are no people in this hall who are still hoping for some miracle or wonder, for some white swan that will bring peace to Ukraine. The borders of 91 or even 2022 when the full-scale invasion began. And after that, there will be great happiness. In my personal opinion, and I think he knows, the enemy still has the resources, the forces, and the means to strike at our territory and attempt individual offensive actions, Zaluzhny said. No agreements to this point have held in place. Nothing that has been agreed upon has been held in place. That even confirms the statements that have been coming out of the European Union from Rutte and others, NATO, of course, Rutte, and other European Union leaders, where they're talking about the Russian war machine is pumping out supply 4x the rate of Europe. And now we have United States basically for now looking like they're on the outs. We also have supply coming from North Korea for Russia. We have Iran and Russia. Their relationship is tightening every day. It's getting closer and closer, especially due to the pressure coming on the nuclear facilities there from the United States and Israel. It is pushing Iran even closer to Russia, and they're talking about it openly. Zaluzhny is saying, hey, they're going to keep waging war. This is where we're at. Just reporting the facts, folks. Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. Yes, this was going to be in the negotiations. Okay, well, you keep it, but the Americans will come help, and we can figure out something. Listen, none of that. It's all, nothing's real, guys. Nothing's real except there's a horrible war happening in Ukraine. Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, within 2 weeks, the plant will be connected to the Russian power grid. And you may ask, well, it's not connected now? No, it hasn't been connected because there was substation development that had to happen. And what's really weird about this, and of course Ukraine knows it, of course Budanov knows this, of course BLUESKY knows it, and Zelensky. They openly stated today all the infrastructure that we needed to connect it to the Russian power grid, under Rosatom, which is Putin's company, are in the final stages of completion, and within weeks, we can push power to the grid. We have built the proper infrastructure in the cities of Melitopol and Mariupol, openly telling it. So here's good targets, Ukraine. Go smash whatever infrastructure they have built. You said, well, Ukraine tries not to hit electrical infrastructure or hold to it. Listen, forget it. Go smash those created infrastructure for electrical export, stealing it from Zaporizhia into the Russian Federation. Go smash it. That's what you need to do. And be looking for that. Probably coming to Melitopol and Mariupol very, very soon. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. I look forward to your comments and appreciate each and every one of you. This is where we're at right now. I can tell you we are expecting a lot of drones to fly tonight. And as you can see, real time, they're already rolling through Sumy region. They come up through the south, through Zaporizhia into Dnepropetrovsk region, into the Kharkiv region. Really interesting flight pattern this time coming from the south. That's typically not it. They're typically coming this way. If they're south, they're typically heading this way. So this is interesting, and we'll stay on top of it. We do know the Tupolovs are loaded. Full salvos of missiles. So we'll keep our eyes on it, and we will be here for you. Thank you for all that you do. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Be blessed.